He built a billion-dollar real estate empire, closed deals worth tens of millions, and became the face of luxury in Beverly Hills. But behind the success were lawsuits, allegations of insider deals, and a marriage that slowly fell apart in front of the world. This is Mauricio Umansky, and the side of his story most people don't talk about.
I had an amazing 26 years with your mom, an amazing 26 years. I wanted to do everything possible to just save it. So you know, your mom came and she talked to me, and she said, I think I need space. She said to me, listen, the rules are that, you know, you go out, you date, you do whatever it is that you want to do. Like, I'm not going to be asking you what you're doing. I don't want you to be asking me what I'm doing. Like, we are separated.
Oh, you know what, Kyle?
Yeah.
Everything is okay with you and Mauricio, right?
Yeah. So here I am dancing with Justin, having fun. I look over and there's this woman hanging on my husband. What I didn't know is that she was whispering in his ear, does your wife take care of you?
What are you doing? Get off my husband, you idiot. Get off my husband. Get off my husband. Get off my husband.
I heard something about I'm here to have fun.
In the world of high-stakes real estate, where deals are measured in tens of millions and reputation is everything, few names carry as much weight as Mauricio Umansky. From the outside, his life looked almost perfectly constructed. He helped celebrities find their home sweet home, and we are talking top-tier celebrities like Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga's a great story. We were going to Vegas. Lady Gaga was doing a concert. Kyle reached out and said, hey, we're going to be in Vegas. Can we go to the concert? Lady Gaga's people grabbed us and they took us into the dressing room. She's like, so Mauricio, I love real estate. I've never bought anything in my life. Like, talk to me. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you've never bought anything? Like, you're Lady Gaga.
Yeah. He's the founder and CEO of The Agency, a global luxury real estate firm that reshaped how high-end properties are marketed and sold. What started as a bold move in 2011 quickly turned into an empire, spanning cities, countries, and some of the most expensive homes in the world. On the other hand, his personal life seemed just as solid for years. A 26-year-long marriage to Kyle Richards, one of the central faces of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, positioned them as one of reality television's most stable and admired couples.
Jeez Louise. Something seems a little off with Mauricio.
Well, I don't want you to rip it off. I want you to try to save it so I can take it back.
It's unsavable.
What do you mean? Ah! Are you nuts?
Nope.
What if this is the wrong size? If that is for some reason like too big and you just rip this,
Well, that would be a problem.
Together, he and Kyle built not just a family, but a brand, one that blended luxury, lifestyle, and visibility. And visibility was everything. With the success of buying Beverly Hills, Mauricio didn't just operate behind the scenes anymore. He became the story. Viewers weren't just watching deals close. They were watching his empire, his family, and his leadership style unfold in real time. All of it set against the backdrop of a life most people only see on screens, including a lavish home in Bel Air, where luxury isn't a milestone, it's the baseline.
Front room.
You made a
This
double
is
island.
gorgeous.
This looks great. The black and the white look amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. This was a desk here that Portia used to sit here and like color, and I have this vision of her like helping me make phone calls from this little desk over here.
This is Pasha.
Hi, Portia. What are you doing?
One night I need to my birthday party.
You are?
So this is your stone still.
This looks beautiful. That green looks great, and that backsplash looks amazing in the bar.
So yeah, they pretty much had a perfect, luxurious life. But the more visible the life became, the harder it was to control the narrative. Because alongside the success, a different story started to take shape. Rumors that never fully went away, whispers of cheating scandals that followed him for years, photos that surfaced, such as those from Greece, raised more questions than answers. And there's more. Moments on Dancing with the Stars where his closeness with his dance partner Emma Slater didn't go unnoticed. A party lifestyle that, to some, began to look less like discipline and more like distraction. In one episode of Real Housewives, Kyle was even confronted by Dorit for Mauricio, dragging her husband into his quote-unquote single lifestyle.
So how was your trip?
It was nice. A lot of spas, a lot of sound healing, spiritual healing. I only partied like 5 nights out of the 25 nights
That's
I've
very
gone.
hard to believe.
By the way, you do know that Mo is trying to get PK, my husband, to go to
Saint-Tropez.
Saint-Tropez.
I know.
So now he wants to drag my husband into his single lifestyle?
I promise.
And then there were the business controversies. Questions about deals, accusations of playing both sides. In one case in particular, the Sweetwater Malibu property that would pull his name into a legal battle involving millions, government-seized assets, and allegations of profiting off inside knowledge. And eventually, the personal and the professional collided. After nearly 3 decades together, Mauricio and Kyle announced their separation, ending one of reality TV's most well-known marriages. No single incident, no clear breaking point, just a slow unraveling, playing out in public.
I think a lot of it has to do with us having a harder year. Is I expected more from him, from what I was going through, which I know you can understand. Also probably, you know, he loves to go drink, and sometimes it's like, I don't want to go to these parties.
But if this is a direction that you want to go and he's not, do you ever worry about the future? How do you sustain a marriage?
I think with the way my relationship is right now, I'm not happy. I'm sort of now working on myself inside, and I feel like he's very focused on his work. So I feel like in that aspect, we're kind of like, you know, growing in different directions.
So what actually happened? Was this just the cost of operating at the highest level, where scrutiny comes with success? Or is there more to the story behind the deals, the headlines, and the image that was carefully built over time? In this video, we're going to break it all down, from the rise of the agency to the Sweetwater Malibu case, the rumors, the public moments, and the relationship that changed everything. Because the story of Mauricio Umansky isn't just about success, it's about everything that came with it.
What do you mean you're having a dinner party?
Love Bean.
I was just joking. I know that.
Honey, have you been partaking?
Maybe, maybe not.
Oh, God.
It's all about changing your mindset.
What are you doing before my dinner party?
Ooh, super sexy.
I feel like if you've been married for 20 years in Beverly Hills, it's like being married for 100 years somewhere else, because it's so unheard of. So I'm very proud of that.
Now, we all know that Mauricio mainly gained fame from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and his Netflix series Buying Beverly Hills, but he wasn't born into stardom. Long before the multi-million-dollar listings, before the cameras, the headlines, and the empire, Mauricio Umansky was just a kid born in Mexico, far removed from the world he would eventually dominate. He spent his early years there before moving to Los Angeles with his family at a young age, a transition that would quietly shape everything that came next. Because Los Angeles wasn't just a new home, it was an opportunity, and Mauricio knew it. He didn't step into real estate as a guaranteed success. There was no empire waiting for him, no clear path into the elite circles of Beverly Hills. What he had instead was ambition, and a willingness to work his way into rooms he didn't yet belong in. And with his marriage to Kyle Richards, he found the right path. He once talked about it in an interview and revealed that it was actually his brother-in-law who pushed him to step into the world of real estate.
I got fired from a job. I was down and out. I was broke. Kyle's brother-in-law, Rick Hilton, owned the real estate brokerage firm Hilton and Highland, and Kyle's like, well, now's your opportunity to get into real estate. I fell into it, but I wanted to get into it.
He started in the industry the traditional way, learning the business from the inside, building connections, and understanding how high-end deals actually work. He eventually worked with companies like Hilton and Highland, a prestigious Beverly Hills firm co-owned by Kyle's brother, Rick Hilton. However, he eventually had a falling out and left the company.
Remember when you joined Hilton and Highland and we were still there?
I was a young boy.
Then I left. I don't know if you know that story.
Was your goal to be brought in as a partner there, and that just didn't work out?
That's exactly what happened. So, you know, I think I got kind of fucked by Hilton and Highland. And when I say fucked, you know, like today I'm happy. But there was 100 agents at Hilton and Highland. They did $1 billion for the first time a year. I was 19.6% of their production. And I went to Rick and I said, I really like equity, right? And to be a partner. He went back, he talked to Jeff, he got back to me, and basically I was told no. Then I went home, I talked to Kyle. I go, this is really gonna cause a lot of stress between you and your sister and your family, and I don't wanna do this move of leaving and starting a company if you're not comfortable. She was 100% supportive. And then I remember they said to me, how did you not give us any warning or any issue? And I was like, warning. I think Hilton and Highland is an amazing company, and I would never be caught dead speaking poorly about them because I don't think poorly about them. And I am Rick's brother-in-law, but unfortunately, it got sour because it really affected the family, Kyle, more than anybody. You know, her family stopped speaking to her, but she understood that what was done to me was wrong, and she stood by me. And at the end of the day, I needed that.
Regardless, it wasn't just another job, it was access. Access to wealthy clients, access to high-value listings, and most importantly, access to a reputation he could build on. And he did. Over time, Mauricio began carving out his identity, not just as a broker, but as a brand, someone who didn't just sell houses, but sold a lifestyle. Beverly Hills wasn't easy to break into. It's a market built on trust, image, and exclusivity, but Mauricio leaned into all three, positioning himself as a go-to name for luxury properties, high-profile clients, and multi-million-dollar deals. By the time he left to start his own company in 2011, he wasn't just another agent anymore. He was betting on himself. That company, the agency, would go on to become one of the most recognizable luxury real estate brands in the world. Offices across multiple countries, deals worth tens of millions, a global footprint built on the idea that real estate wasn't just about property, it was about perception.
Through our technology, you know, that's something that we don't really tout that much in the past because we were doing it, we grew naturally, right? We grew the old-fashioned way. We've now been in the business for 10 years as the agency, and we grew organically, which is, you know, we didn't raise any money, no debt in the company. Today, the company is almost 700 agents strong, 37 different offices. Last year we did $6.5 billion worth of sales.
And while his professional life was accelerating, his personal life was becoming just as central to his public image. He met Kyle Richards in the mid-1990s at a nightclub in Los Angeles, a chance meeting that quickly turned serious. They got married in 1996. Together, they built a family that would later become just as visible as his business. Kyle and Richards had 3 daughters together: Alexia Umansky, born 1996, Sophia Umansky, born 2000, and Portia Umansky, born 2008. And from Kyle's previous marriage, her daughter, Farah Al-Jufri, born 1988, whom Mauricio also helped raise. From the outside, it looked like stability, a growing business, a long-lasting marriage, a family that often appeared close-knit and supportive, especially once their lives became part of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
How do you make a marriage last for 25 years? I'm sure people ask you that all the time.
They do, you know, and when I was younger, well, now I hadn't had that many years under my belt and it was a struggle to answer. But, you know, after now, you know, the 25 years of marriage, I have different answers. And one of the things I really do tell people that are starting off now is that it's really important to surround yourselves with other strong couples.
On screen, Mauricio came across as calm, loyal, and grounded, the kind of husband rarely questioned, the kind of figure audiences trusted. He was always there for his wife, and the other women on the show really envied their relationship.
Look amazing.
You like this?
Yeah.
Should I wear this every day? Should I pick you up at school like this, Portia? What do you think, honey? Fishnets or no fishnets?
That's for the legs?
Yes.
Denise,
Yeah.
you want to pass me your salmon?
Sorry, I didn't know there was garlic on it. Sorry.
It was really good, and there was no garlic on it.
She hasn't even touched it. I'm like,
I know, because I have an allergy and I don't want it.
But reality television, as it often does, only showed part of the picture, because as his empire expanded and as his visibility grew, so did the whispers. Now, it's important to separate what's proven from what's been alleged. Over the years, there have been persistent rumors in the media and online discussions about infidelity and blurred lines in both his personal and professional life. There have also been legal disputes and allegations tied to certain real estate deals, which we'll break down in detail later. But at this stage, what matters is this: the image was strong, the brand was powerful, the success was undeniable, yet underneath it all, pressure was building. Because maintaining an empire, especially one built on perception, is a very different challenge from creating one. And in 2016, that image took its first real hit, because that's when one of the biggest controversies of his career began. A deal that would follow him for years, raise serious questions about his business practices, and quietly shift how people saw him. At the center of it all was a luxury Malibu property known as the Sweetwater estate. The home had a complicated history. It was previously owned by former NBA player Carlos Boozer, but by the time it entered Mauricio's orbit, it was tied to something much bigger. The property had been seized by the U.S. government as part of a corruption investigation involving Teodoro Nguema Obiang Mangay, the son of Equatorial Guinea's president, whose assets were under scrutiny, and he was accused of money laundering. The sale was connected to the Teodoro Nguema Obiang Foundation as part of that broader legal situation. This wasn't just another luxury listing. It was a high-stakes, high-visibility transaction, and Mauricio, through the agency, was right in the middle of it. In 2016, the property was sold for around $32.5 million. At the time, it looked like just another major deal, but what happened next is what turned it into a scandal, because not long after, the same property was resold, this time for nearly $70 million, and that's when the allegations began. Critics claimed that the original price had been significantly undervalued, that Mauricio had access to information that others didn't, and that he may have positioned himself or people close to the deal to benefit from that gap.
So there was this house in Malibu that the playboy son of this president of an African country bought. And then the African country was like investigated and come to find out he was embezzling a bunch of money. And he used some of that money to buy this like $60 million home in Malibu. So Mauricio was supposed to broker the deal so that he could send money back to this African country that they desperately needed for like, you know, schools and healthcare and stuff. So he was brokering the deal, and then apparently he basically sold himself the house through a shell corporation that may or may not have had Kyle's name on it, so that he could get a low ball offer, flip the home, and make like $30 million. So that's what he did. And I guess one of the people who made an offer in the lower range, who he didn't take seriously, decided to sue Mauricio because he didn't take their offer seriously. And that puts his license in jeopardy. I mean, if he's benefiting from the sale of a home that he was supposed to be selling to a legitimate buyer, I mean, everything there is just very shady and questionable, and I don't understand how his license wasn't like called into question or anything.
So yeah, in simple terms, the accusation was this, that he helped facilitate a sale at a lower price to himself, only for the property to be flipped later at a massive profit, a difference worth tens of millions. The deal quickly turned into a long legal battle, and let us tell you how, exactly. Originally, the property was owned by Karen RHOBH, whose family is tied to the production company behind Wheel of Fortune, a reminder of just how deeply embedded this home was in old money Hollywood wealth. But everything changed when the estate entered what would later become its most controversial chapter. In 2006, Karen RHOBH sold the property for around $30 million to a man named Teodoro Nguema Obiang Mangay, often referred to in the media as an African prince, the son of the president of Equatorial Guinea. Teodoro's wealth was later tied to serious corruption allegations involving government oil revenues from Equatorial Guinea. Investigations suggested that parts of his luxury portfolio, including this estate, purchased under the name Sweetwater Malibu LLC, were funded through misappropriated state resources. Years later, as part of a legal settlement with U.S. authorities, the property was seized and placed back into the market in 2016. The proceeds from the sale were structured under government supervision. Some funds were directed back through legal settlements, and others were allocated to charitable initiatives connected to Equatorial Guinea. And this is where Mauricio Umansky entered the picture alongside the agency. Both Teodoro's representatives and U.S. officials selected Mauricio as the listing agent for the sale. What followed was immediate attention. Within a short period, multiple high-value offers came in. Reports suggest at least 5 serious bids were considered for the property. Eventually, the winning offer came through none other than broker Mauricio, closing at approximately $33.5 million, with adjustments made for repairs. At that moment, it looked like a successful, clean luxury transaction. But the story didn't end there, because another bidder, real estate investor Sam Hakim, later claimed he had verbally offered up to $40 million for the estate. According to reports, he also alleged that after losing the bid, he attempted to negotiate a separate arrangement, even offering millions to secure access to the deal or position. However, those claims were never formalized in writing, and that detail, no documentation, became central to what followed. After the sale, Hakim became convinced that the deal had not been handled transparently. He alleged that Mauricio and his team failed to properly present his higher offer to the sellers, and that he may have been unfairly excluded from the final decision-making decision-making process. In 2017, the same property was reportedly resold for nearly $69.9 million, almost double the original sale price. That resale triggered even more scrutiny. Hakim argued that the structure of the deal suggested the original transaction may have been influenced in a way that benefited intermediaries, including Mauricio, and parties connected to the brokerage process. He further claimed that if his higher offer had been properly presented or accepted, the outcome and profit distribution could have been very different. From there, the situation escalated. Teodoro Nguema himself initiated legal action, claiming he lost potential financial value in the transaction. Separately, Hakim and his agent, Aitan Segal, also pursued legal claims, focused on both lost opportunity and lost commission tied to the deal. One lawsuit centered on the alleged undervaluation of the property. Another focused on missed commissions and the handling of competing offers. It's important to note that these cases were complex, heavily disputed, and involved multiple legal outcomes over time. Not all claims were proven, and parts of the disputes remained contested, but in the public narrative, the damage was already done. Because in luxury real estate, perception moves faster than legal rulings. And for the first time, the image of success surrounding Mauricio's career was no longer unshakable. It was being questioned. From 2016 onward, the Sweetwater case became a recurring shadow over his career, resurfacing in headlines, discussions, and criticism of how elite real estate deals are handled behind closed doors. Eventually, in 2022, the case was dismissed, with no legal liability proven against Mauricio. However, over the years, there have been multiple allegations and criticisms within the industry, ranging from conflicts of interest to concerns about how certain deals were structured. However, the real juice of today's video isn't just the business empire or the lawsuits, it's the relationship drama between Mauricio Umansky and Kyle Richards. For years, their marriage has been one of the central talking points of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, constantly pulled into conversations, rumors, and public speculation.
I'm just glad it's you out there having an affair.
Well, once it's me. Well,
If there was infidelity, would you say?
I don't know.
But to truly understand how everything started falling apart, we need to go back, way back. Not just to the separation in 2023, but through more than a decade of tabloids, headlines, and on-screen tension stretching from 2010 to 2023. Because this wasn't a sudden breakup. Now, one of the earliest televised moments that would later be re-examined in hindsight came during the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills dinner party episode in 2010. During the now infamous gathering, comments were made about Mauricio's behavior and character, including remarks suggesting he enjoyed attention from women outside his marriage. One of the most quoted moments from the evening included claims that he loves more than just his nannies, which immediately became part of early fan discussion around his personal life. And let's not forget the iconic psychic prediction.
No, this one.
Oh,
he will
so
never emotionally fulfill you, but you will stay with him. And he will take care of you. And as soon as the kids are bigger, you'll have nothing in common.
What are you talking about? Have you seen my husband? I mean, hello? Please.
Well, poor Kyle. And while it was presented as reality TV drama at the time, years later, this moment would be reinterpreted as one of the earliest public seeds of suspicion around his marriage to Kyle Richards. In 2012, Kyle Richards also made comments in her book, Life is Not a Reality Show, that reignited conversations around marriage boundaries. She discussed the idea that in certain situations, she believed a one-time mistake in a marriage should not necessarily be publicly exposed, suggesting that some issues should be handled privately between partners. She wrote, I've seen circumstances with people that I know are in love with their spouse, and they made one mistake, and I said, this is somebody that I know. Nobody that anybody knows here. Listen, if this really was a one-time mistake and you did not put this person in jeopardy, I personally think you should deal with it with yourself and with God and not go and say, honey, look what I did, because I knew that this would ruin their relationship and their life. So yeah, that's epic coping. By April 2013, tabloid reports began circulating suggesting Mauricio had been seen flirting with women in Beverly Hills social settings. One report cited an alleged interaction at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, where he was said to have engaged in a flirtatious conversation and made comments interpreted by some as inappropriate for a married man. According to this Reddit thread, Tess Broussard of Comedy Central's Kroll Show told Star about an encounter she had a few years ago with Mauricio. They were at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel with her friend Christina Schultz. Mauricio just beelined for us, the source added. After a flirty conversation, he allegedly said, I'm married, but I stray once in a while. However, Mauricio publicly repeatedly denied the allegations, dismissing them as false and emphasizing his commitment to his wife and children, and he repeatedly denied over the years.
I mean, you know, look, the truth is I haven't watched the trailer. And I didn't watch it on purpose because I knew that it was going to be high drama, very intense. I knew they were using my relationship with Kyle as part of, like, you know, the big trailer, the big thing, et cetera, et cetera. So I didn't want to watch it today.
By May 2013, tensions spilled onto RHOBH itself. Cast members, including Brandi Glanville, confronted Kyle directly about rumors involving Mauricio, questioning whether allegations of infidelity had any truth behind them.
I love women. I think that we would rule the universe if we just got the out the way of ourselves. If there wasn't the cattiness and the jealousy and the insecurity.
If everyone would stop f***ing our husbands. Kyle, there was that story about Mauricio cheating and whatnot. Like, what's up with that?
Why would you bring that up? You know that it's not true. You know how hurtful and painful it's been for my family and me. Why would you do that at a table like this in front of everyone? You.
So yeah, the confrontation caused visible emotional distress on camera, with Kyle rejecting the claims and expressing frustration that her marriage was being publicly questioned. In June 2013, more serious allegations surfaced in media reports claiming he had been linked to escort services years earlier. These claims included highly specific accusations involving private encounters, which Mauricio strongly denied. He even issued a public statement insisting he was faithfully and happily committed to his wife and family. Still, the rumors did not disappear. Throughout late 2013, the allegations became a recurring topic on RHOBH. Lisa Vanderpump and other cast members referenced tabloid stories on camera, often indirectly reinforcing public awareness of the rumors.
That I'm pregnant.
But there's all these nasty rumors about Mauricio. There's all this, you know, at what point? Well, we can't invest in any of them.
There's been a lot of gossip in the tabloids, vicious, nasty stuff as far as I'm concerned. And it's like the elephant in the room. I don't feel I can ignore it with Kyle. So the best thing to do, I feel, is to hit it head on.
By early 2014, Kyle publicly defended him, stating that she felt obligated as a wife to protect her family's image and that many of the stories circulating were exaggerated or false. She even confronted Lisa Vanderpump about it.
Faced with something like this, I knew it was a lie. And I was standing by my husband 1,000%. And it just made us, you know, talk about that and sit down with our kids and talk about, you know, what can happen when you're in the public eye. And we had talked about that before we signed up for this, but here it was in our face and they never once even gave it a second thought.
Overall, this whole cheating scandal thing put a lot of strain on Kyle's friendship with other wives on the show, especially Lisa Vanderpump, whom Kyle considered a friend. Lisa later stopped talking to Kyle and also spoke about the potential reason for the couple's separation.
Well, in case we can catch you up.
Beverly Hills are alive with the sound of some separation.
Yeah, Kyle and Mauricio.
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
Now that you've
about that, yeah.
Yeah, like what has been the most shocking development in that whole situation? Because it is a lot. Like, they were separated, but they're not getting divorced, and then there's the Morgan Wade piece of it. Like, what are your thoughts and reflections?
I just never believe anything that starts with kind of I heard and rumors, but I think that comes from having had an education in the restaurant business and hospitality business, that you kind of interacting sometimes with a few hundred people a day. Everybody has a story, so anything starts with I heard. I'm like, but, you know, there were rumors prior to this. I mean, everybody's been very honest about that. But still, I know there was a lot of love between them. There really was. And there probably still is. So I think it saddens me to see anybody that's been together that long, because marriage is hard. You know, we've been married over 40.
In 2016, Mauricio was accused of cheating on Kyle with a mystery woman. According to an issue of Star magazine, Mauricio Umansky was caught chatting up a mystery beauty at the LA Fashion Week opening gala on March 16. By 2020, additional reports and online discussions resurfaced older rumors, including claims from anonymous sources about his nightlife behavior and alleged relationships outside marriage. At the same time, the expansion of the agency increased visibility and pressure. The more successful the brand became, the more closely every personal detail was examined. In 2021, Netflix launched Mauricio in Buying Beverly Hills. The show presented a carefully constructed image. He appeared on the show alongside his daughter and presented himself as a supportive father.
Maybe this isn't a good opportunity to ask you guys, like, what you guys plan to do in terms of your own relationship, like what happens now.
The fact that we are so busy and working, it's like, okay, well, we can take this time and have a little space while working through our stuff.
So you're taking
you feel like
more
you guys
space?
need
More space to work through it.
Well, we're doing this while living under the same roof.
Not necessarily, no.
What I was just going to say is what I meant by that is that we are trying to figure out what we want and, you know, try to work through this. It's like, I don't want to, like, leave, and I don't want Dad to leave, so we're, like, doing this while we're under the same roof. So that's been the plan, and if that we feel is not working, not effective, you know, then we will go to the next step, which I don't know. Or if it is working, then great.
However, other things were also happening in 2021. Dana Wyke's friend spilled the tea and told everyone that Mauricio messes with a harem of bottle girls that work at Club Mount in Miami. She said that he has all of them sign NDAs. Kyle apparently knows. And honestly, these incidents and allegations just don't stop. There has been a decade's worth of allegations against Mauricio, so we are going to wrap it up as concisely as possible. By 2022, social media amplified older allegations again. Claims of partying and relationships during travel, online posts alleging infidelity within celebrity circles, renewed discussion of past rumors involving women connected to his business environment. While none of these claims were legally proven, they contributed to a growing perception problem. But honestly, not all of this conversation depends on what's been officially proven, because beyond tabloids and anonymous claims, there have also been public moments and literal proof of Mauricio's infidelity. There were widely circulated images and videos, like the ones of Mauricio Umansky in Greece, where he was seen kissing and snuggling with Nikita Khan. And even earlier than that, there were moments on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills itself. Clips where Mauricio seemed to enjoy attention from other women a little too much. Instances where Kyle Richards had to literally push women off of him.
So here I am dancing with Justin, having fun. I look over and there's this woman hanging on my husband. What I didn't know is that she was whispering in his ear, "Does your wife take care of you?" What are you doing? Get off my husband, you idiot. Get off my husband. Get off my husband. Get off my husband. I heard something about, "I'm here to have fun." And I was like, not with my husband. You don't hang on my husband like that. You understand me? This woman was clearly intoxicated and didn't know what she was doing, but I don't need those kind of people in my home.
Then there were more recent appearances, like on Dancing with the Stars, where people noticed that he was getting a little too touchy-feely with Emma Slater. So yeah, things were bad, and the split didn't happen out of nowhere. There were signs, and people noticed. Kyle removed the initial U from her bag. She was papped without a wedding ring multiple times, and while the couple kept shutting down the divorce rumors for a while, in 2023, after nearly 27 years of marriage, Mauricio and Kyle announced their separation. They described it as a pause, rather than an immediate divorce, but confirmed they were no longer functioning as a couple.
Was this a mutual decision, or was one of you the driving force behind the separation?
It originated from me. I'd say, yeah.
It did.
It did, yeah.
Kyle later explained that the constant public scrutiny and rumors had affected their family life, especially their children, making the situation increasingly difficult to manage privately.
Do you have regrets about separating from him?
I mean, I have regrets for both of us allowing us to get to this place, you know? I wish that we had communicated better when things started bubbling up.
Kyle, do you think Mo regrets it, or at some level wants to get back together?
I know he regrets things that have happened that got us to this place. I don't know if he wants to get back together because he's never said that.
However, both Kyle and Mauricio refused to comment on the real reason behind their split.
So Kyle, when did things really start to change? Is there an event that stands out as the beginning of what you called your hard year?
You know, like with any marriage, there's issues that, you know, you have, they come up, and then something, like I said in my interview, happened where I did lose my trust.
Adam from Atwater Village said Kyle's dancing around the reason for her split. What's the real reason, and why won't she just spit it out?
Because it's nobody's business.
But honestly speaking, we all know where this whole relationship was headed and why. And a fun fact, they actually lived under the same roof for a while.
We live under the same roof, in different rooms, and it's just sort of like we are fortunate enough. We have other homes, and he kind of come and go, and when we are all there, it's just sort of like, if he's there for dinner, great, and
It just...
So it's friendly.
It's friendly.
Yeah.
It is.
After the separation, Mauricio was frequently photographed with different women in public settings. Even Kyle talked about how he moved on so quickly.
I know that on the after show, you said being out at a party over the holidays with Mo and you felt uncomfortable because he was really, you know, looking around and kind of booked up.
No.
What does that mean?
Rachel was with me there too.
What was he doing?
That's not great.
I think for a second he forgot that I've been his wife for 30 years, even though we're separated, and was just sort of like doing his thing. And I was witnessing him be this single guy right in front of me. I wanted to be like, what are you doing? I'm standing right here.
That had to be very awkward.
It was awful. It was honestly, yeah, it was. He's living a very different life.
Mauricio was spotted kissing his new girlfriend at an airport, and Kyle was linked to close friendships and appearances in music videos with singer Morgan Wade. A lot of people said that Kyle was cheating on Mauricio now, but Mauricio talked to the paparazzi and said that she was just shooting a music video.
With the rumors with Morgan Wade, I know a lot of people aren't coming. Can you set the record straight on that? Give us a little insight for that, please.
I'm glad you asked that question. There is no doubt in my mind that Kyle has not slept or cheated with Morgan Wade. They are really great friends. They are filming stuff together. They're doing things together. They are not in a relationship.
Despite this, neither publicly confirmed a single definitive cause for the breakup. By 2025, attention shifted back to his business. Reports and discussions began pointing toward financial and operational strain within the agency as the luxury real estate market slowed and competition increased. At this stage, the narrative around Mauricio had fully changed. He was no longer just seen as a rising luxury broker. He was now part of a long-running public conversation involving success, scrutiny, rumors, and unresolved questions. As of May 2026, Kyle Richards and Mauricio Umansky are still separated, and in many ways, that says everything.
Do you think you're waiting for him?
Am I waiting for him to do it?
No, waiting for him to come back.
No, I think it's just not knowing what you want, and
What once looked like a perfect life, a successful business, a long marriage, a strong public image slowly unraveled over years of rumors, controversies, and constant scrutiny. And in the end, it wasn't one moment that changed everything. It was the buildup, because when your life plays out in public, the image doesn't break all at once. It fades.